And then personally, I prefer to use a beauty sponge for my foundation. Hey guys, it's Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about my foundation routine. I'm going to be showing you guys all the steps that I do for my foundation for a full face, full glam type of a look, which is probably like a terrible day to be doing this since I just touched up my hair, and you guys will totally be able to see if I get foundation in my hair. That is the one problem about touch-up day, is that when I do my makeup and I do my foundation, like, you can see foundation like all up in my hair because it's so light at the root, but that's okay. We'll work with it. But I'm currently getting ready to go to Dark Harbor at the Queen Mary with some friends. We're starting on the Halloween festivities, so really excited about that. That's all being documented in a vlog, which I will link here somewhere on the screen and also down below in the description bar if you guys want to check that out. But I figured I might as well go ahead and do a full face of makeup and film it for you guys, since the last time I put out a content request type of a video, I actually had a lot of questions about different aspects of foundation. So I figured that a foundation routine would encompass all of those questions and content requests. So if you guys want to see my foundation routine, keep on watching. Okay, so the very first step to my foundation routine actually starts with my skin routine in the morning, and that is moisturizing. Right now I am using the Boscia Cactus Water Moisturizer, but normally before I got that, I usually used the Bliss Drench and Quench Cream to Water Hydrator for all day moisture. It's quite a mouthful. Just a little follow-up on this Boscia one because it is new from my Sephora haul. I like it a lot. Pros and cons versus the Bliss one. For the Boscia one, I will say that it is a lot more moisturizing. I was getting some dry patches when the weather turned when I was using the Bliss one, and I haven't noticed it with the cactus water. But the drawback on this one though is that you do have to wait for it to soak into your skin at least like 5-10 minutes before you start applying primer and your makeup. Just because if you don't, since it is still sitting on top of your skin, when you go to rub in primer or anything like that, it will start to pill and peel off. So you definitely want to make sure that this has fully soaked before you use it, which isn't the case with this Bliss one. This one soaks into my skin immediately and I can go right into makeup with it. So it's just all about your preference, whichever one you'd like, or you know, whatever moisturizer you currently use that works for you. Obviously you can moisturize with that one too. And then next on my foundation routine, a step that I always do, especially if I'm going out, is I put on sunscreen. I like to use the Sunbum face lotion with SPF 50. This one's really great. Again, this is another one that just soaks right into my foundation, and I've worn it with makeup ever since I got it, and it doesn't disrupt the makeup. It doesn't cause any extra oily patches or anything. It really does absorb really quickly into your skin, and it doesn't cause any problems at all. But I did apply this earlier in the day because I was out and about running errands, getting my hair done, all of that good stuff. I'm not going to reapply it because I don't need to. By the time we leave, it's going to be dark. So it's a step that's not needed right now for this, but just know that I did take it earlier. Okay, but starting on the makeup though, I always prime my skin. For me, the main thing that I'm looking to do when I prime my skin when I'm wearing a full face, full glam makeup look is that I want the makeup to last. So my current favorite primer is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This primer is really, really great. It has kind of a tacky consistency so that your makeup will really stick to it and it'll last so long when you use this. Even if you're not using a long last foundation, this one will make it long lasting for sure. But the only thing with this one is, for me, it doesn't really fill in my pores. It really doesn't curb any shininess or anything like that. So I do go in with another primer. My favorite combo with this one is the Milk Blur Stick. This one is super good for filling in my pores and for giving my skin kind of this airbrush look and making my skin look really smooth, and like my skin just naturally has a really good texture to it. So I love these two together. Another one that I've been using sometimes is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I've been talking about this in my last couple of videos. Basically, I think it's great for an affordable primer, but I'm not completely sold on this. I feel like this doesn't perform as well as I wanted it to, but it is definitely a good option if you're looking to save a little bit of money. So for this makeup look, I'm going to go in with both Milk primers. I'm going to start out with the Blur Stick, and I'm going to concentrate this to the areas where I really want to fill in my pores, which is like right around my cheeks, and then any areas where I just kind of want to blur it a little bit. So that would be like my forehead, my nose, my chin, because that is where I tend to break out. So I'd like to blur some of those areas out a little bit more. And also too, this will help curb the shine in those areas as well. And I just usually rub it, because it is a stick primer, just rub it right onto the areas that I need. And then taking my hands, I'm just gonna kind of blend it out and even it all out. Make sure that, like, you know, any areas that I might have gone over a couple of times just kind of get evened out. All right, then next we're gonna go in with the Hydro Grip Primer. I just use like not even a full pump. I think that's honestly like half a pump, but I just take that much and rub it in between my hands, let it get kind of tacky, and then I just kind of rub it in. I start on the outside of my face since the inside of my face already has primer, then work my way inward. And then usually I tie my hair back, but of course I am unprepared and I don't have a hair tie and it's driving me crazy, so just hold on. All right, I got these little hair ties from Target. I'm sure you guys have seen this everywhere, but I like these because they don't dent my hair, so they're great for makeup because, you know, I usually have my hair done and I don't want to disturb it. But I will say I obviously wouldn't use this if you need a hair tie for something active because it doesn't hold very well since it doesn't dent. So I'm just gonna put my hair back for right now so I don't get foundation in my hair too much. But we will go ahead and move on to foundation. I'm gonna use my Holy Grail foundation for full face, full glam makeup. And that is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation. I don't have my correct color. I've never had my correct color in here. I don't know why. Honestly, I have no excuses. I just tend to combine these two. This is cashmere and chai. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Honestly though, I do tend to cocktail my foundations a lot. Usually it's like two different kinds of foundations. This is the same foundation, just two different colors because I'm dumb and I still haven't gotten my correct color. But especially when I'm combining for color, I always want to try to match it up to my body as opposed to my face because my face is usually lighter since I like to try to keep it out of the sun. I have SPF on it and stuff, so my body just tends to get a little bit tanner. So I'll go ahead and mix up the two foundations on my hand, and then I usually test it just around my neck. I could use a little bit more of the dark shade, so that's what I'm gonna do. And then I will honestly always spread the foundation onto my neck anyways too, so as long as I can get it close, that's fine. A touch more of the dark, and then we'll go ahead and go in. And then I just dot it on my face from my hand. And then personally, I prefer to use a beauty sponge for my foundation. When I do use a foundation brush, it is usually when I'm working with a stick foundation for my base. And the one that I like to use for that is the Morphe M6. This one's really, really good. It blends really fast and it leaves a pretty good finish without looking streaky or anything like that. So I like this one a lot. If you've been here for a while, you already know this. If you're new, you probably noticed it right now, but I don't use a beauty blender. I actually prefer these EcoTools blending duos. It comes with this one for foundation and then this one for concealer. The consistency of this sponge is almost identical to a beauty blender, and this is $5 for the two of them versus $20 for one beauty blender, so this is definitely the better deal. And then I also love the flat sides. This part is really great for if you're gonna cream contour, which we are gonna do in this video. And then for the concealer one, this flat side is obviously really great to buff out your concealer underneath your eyes. It really gets in there and leaves a really good application. So like I said, about $5 for the two of them. You can't go wrong. But I'm just gonna go ahead and work this foundation into my skin. Hopefully I wasn't talking too long. Yeah, I was kind of talking too long, so I'm gonna work kind of fast here because it's already starting to dry. And then I have to be really careful around my hairline when I'm freshly blonde because like I said, my hair is so light right now that if foundation gets into it, you can definitely see it. So I just want to go ahead and buff all this out, make sure that this is nice and even, and then also drag it down my neck just to make sure that everything is nice and blended out. And then also too, if I were to be wearing my hair up, I would go ahead and drag this onto my ears, believe it or not. It just, the air show is going on right now, so there are fighter jets flying around me. So sorry about that, but anyways, it just helps to ensure that the look is super seamless. So I usually take my time with blending. I really like to make sure that everything is even. I don't miss any spots or anything like that because this is the canvas for your whole makeup look. You really want to make sure that you don't miss anything, it doesn't look streaky or anything like that. And then if you have my problem, you just wipe your foundation out of your hair. Super fun extra step. And then from there I go ahead and conceal. I just like to conceal underneath my eyes, obviously. and then just like my nose and my chin and my forehead. Then taking the other sponge, I'm going to go ahead and blend that out. And then I put a little bit too much concealer on my head, so I'm going to go back in with the sponge that I use for my foundation and blend it out. Okay, then I'm going to set some necessary spots with translucent powder. I like to use the RCMA No Color powder. This one is $7 per container, and you guys, these containers will honestly last you like almost a year, depending on how often you put on makeup. It's crazy. So they're a really good deal. They don't have any flashback or anything like that, and it does leave a really flawless airbrushed look. So I'm going to take that powder, dip the other flat side of my sponge in, and I'm going to go ahead and set my under eye. And right around my mouth, just because, you know, you tend to wipe that area a lot. So putting on an extra layer of powder there will help the foundation and concealer stay on there longer. And then another step that I like to take, especially when I want to make sure that I'm not going to get shiny throughout the day or the night, is I go ahead and put a little bit on my nose and then on my forehead, just in the middle here. For me, this is where I will get shiny a lot. And I'll just go ahead and pat that in. And same with the nose. Again, that just adds an extra layer and makes sure that the makeup stays on for a little bit longer, and also makes it just look a little bit more airbrushed. Now for a full face glam, I do like to contour, and I especially like to cream contour because, you know, if you're gonna go full face, might as well go all the way. So my favorite way to cream contour is to actually use a foundation stick that is darker than my skin tone. So I like to use the Makeup Revolution Fast Space Stick Foundation. The color that I use is F14. I believe this is like their second darkest one. So this is what this one looks like. It's a perfect depth and tone for my skin tone for cream contour. So when I was applying that powder, I was making sure that I was only putting it right underneath here on my cheeks because I knew I was gonna go in with a cream contour. I didn't want to get any powder on those areas yet. That way this cream will blend in seamlessly to my foundation. If I were to put powder over it, I run the risk of this looking kind of chalky and just not blending right on top of the powder. So if you are gonna do this step, just make sure not to get any powder on your contour areas before you're able to go in with your contour shade. So a little bit goes a long way with this one. So I am just gonna draw a small line just to start out with. I can always add more later. And I just like to dot lightly up by my forehead. And then right underneath the chin, I'll just draw a line lightly. And then taking the other side of the sponge, I'm gonna go in with the tip, and I'm gonna use that to start blending out this foundation. As you can see, like that, even that little bit is already making a contour line, which is why I say a little bit goes a long way with that one. So there you go, my face is already getting some dimension on it, so I'll go ahead and do the other side. And then under the chin. And this one, I do drag it backwards, since naturally you'll have a shadow all the way through here. So you just want to drag this one back onto your neck. So then at this point, I like to set my foundation. And to do that, I'm going to go in with the Bare Minerals Bare Pro powder. I love this powder. I've been using it since forever. I honestly don't think that I'm ever going to use a different one. This one just sets my makeup so well. It never really looks cakey unless I'm wearing a foundation that was already cakey to start with. And it definitely just helped to make my foundation last and to also help blend out the cream contour. You know, if I had gone a little bit too heavy-handed with it, I can use this to blend it out and, you know, just make it a little bit less intense. So the color that I use for reference is Sable 21. And then I like to go on with a big powder brush. This one's very old, so you guys can see the hairs are already falling down. It's very, very wide. I need to get a new one, but I do love this one. This is the Morphe M424 brush. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a little bit of that. And I like to press the powder into my face. That's really important because if you buff or if you swipe it around, that's where you can run the risk of it kind of looking a little bit cakey, versus just pressing it into your skin will make it settle into the foundation and kind of blend into it. Now for the contour line, I try to powder underneath it, just like that. So I like to leave that undisturbed because I will be going over it with contour powder. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my face, and then we will come back all glammed up and I'll show you how I finish off my foundation from there. All right, you guys, so I have my lashes on, I finished up my contour, my highlighter, and my blush and my eyes. So the last step is to set my foundation, and recently I showed you guys this. This is my new favorite. This is the Milani Make It Last Matte Finish Setting Spray. This one is so good. I love the fact that it only takes 2 sprays to cover my face because the spray is so wide but really fine, so it's not too much. It just disperses the perfect amount of setting spray. So I'm going to go ahead and that's all you need. And one final thing that I do while that setting spray is still drying is I will go in and just lightly blend everything together. Make sure that there are no harsh lines so that this doesn't end up looking cakey or anything like that. Alright, but that was it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my full foundation routine. Please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new here. Turn your notifications on. Follow me on social media. All of that is linked down below. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.